All right, guys, welcome so much to the live. Thank you so much for joining. Whether you are joining me in the Zoom call, you're on YouTube or on Facebook, I just wanted to start and say I appreciate you guys joining me for today's live. It's definitely been much longer than I would have liked since I've done one of these lives, but I appreciate each one of you guys joining me. Today, what I'm going to be covering in today's live, so lots of topics to go over, but especially want to cover today. Right, guys, welcome so much to the live. Thank you so much for joining. Whether you are joining me in the Zoom call, you're on YouTube or on Facebook. All right, let me just start there. Okay, so three main topics that I'm going to be covering today, guys. Whether you're joining me on Facebook, YouTube, or in the private Zoom call, what I'm going to be covering is getting prepared for Q4. We have Q4 coming up. I'm also going to be talking about kind of the best ways to get started. If you guys are out there, you know, maybe you're just about to launch your product or you're trying to get into the Amazon space and maybe you have things that are holding you up, right? I know it took me over 6 months to get started. So I'll go over kind of the best tips and things about getting started. If this is your first time launching a product or you're trying to look for a product, I'll go over that. And then I'll have time. We'll have lots of time for Q&A. I know a lot of people have questions right now. So thank you, whether you're joining on Facebook, YouTube, or in Zoom, for joining me today. All right, before we jump into kind of the topics and the training of what I wanted to cover today, preparing for Q4 and tips for new beginners, I just wanted to say one thing. Going into Q4, this is the highest sales volume kind of period during the whole year, right? Most Amazon sellers make the majority or a lot of sales or the highest sales volumes during the Q4 season, which is October, November, December. Now, that may seem it's a really good thing that we make a lot of sales, we sell a lot, the products sell well, you can make really good high sales volumes during Q4, but I don't want that to intimidate you guys. If this is your first Q4, I don't want you to feel like you have to live up to big expectations. PPC costs definitely go up inside Q4. You're definitely going to end up spending more on cost per click, right? Because there's more people or more sellers spending money on advertising. The other thing is shipping delays. Whether you're shipping from overseas or you're doing FBM, shipping and fulfilling orders yourself, regardless, just getting inventory into Amazon and checked in once it gets to Amazon definitely takes extra time during this time of year. I can remember last year during Q4, we had so many delays, especially with UPS, it seemed like, which is the Amazon partnered carrier. They handle all my FBM orders and shipping in more inventory into Amazon. So you'll have to just be patient. Hopefully we don't face as much issues and problems like we did last Q4 with UPS, but shipping was definitely backed up. So allow extra time. If you are sending in inventory into Amazon during this time of year, can you do that? Yes. Amazon accepts inventory 365 days per year. You can ship anytime you want into Amazon. That's no problem. But during the Q4 season, like, you want to hit some important dates. Obviously, we have Black Friday, we have Cyber Monday, and we have, of course, leading up until Christmas. Those are like the highest sales volume times. Just leave extra couple of weeks if you can for inventory to arrive and get checked in. Hopefully we don't have the backlog. Even 2 to 4 weeks, guys, is like about the average time I see it take in November and December for Amazon to check in your inventory. It's just so many people sending in more inventory. And the other thing is, hopefully you ordered enough inventory to last during Q4. I have some boxes behind me and my garage is half full with Amazon inventory and boxes because I stock up so much and I don't want to have to rely on my 3PL or anyone else. Basically, I just want to control the inventory, my extra inventory. If I need to ship more in, I like to do that myself. So I ship them right from my garage. I use Amazon partnered carrier, get discounted shipping, and I ship the products right into Amazon. And then basically I'm only waiting for a UPS to get them from my house to Amazon, and then waiting a week or two to get Amazon to check them in, and I'm good to go. But definitely don't rely on your supplier being able to get your products out in time for Q4. If you're kind of right now, you may make it right now with air shipping. November 15th is kind of the cutoff date, or the latest time I would try to get your latest time frame. I would try to get your inventory there to Amazon and to be checked in time for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, huge sales volume periods, December 1st up until Christmas. November 15th, kind of around there is when you want to try to get your inventory into Amazon. And like I said, I have a bunch of boxes here. I'm really stocked up during Q4. Hopefully you stocked up as well. Typically you can expect at least double the sales volume during Q4. And PPC, of course, goes up, cost per clicks, those kind of things. And then one more thing, just about overview kind of Q4. Is it a good time to launch a product in Q4? You know, I've launched products for the very first time in Q4 myself, and they did very well. It's definitely more competitive, like I said, with launching and ranking the product with PPC. But because you have so many people shopping and so much demand, as long as your product kind of either solves a problem, makes a good giftable product, you do a good job with your listing. Maybe you have a couple images that are kind of giftable related with like the package, that maybe you have a nice custom gift box, those types of things, your product will do well. So that's kind of an overview I wanted to start out with, just preparing for Q4, what to expect as far as shipment and shipping delayed times, getting your inventory to Amazon, UPS issues, and check-in times at Amazon, and the cutoff date of November 15th. Let me say hi to everyone who's here. So Carolyn, thank you for joining me. Jerry, thank you for being here. Keith, Marty, Marka, Muhammad, Tammy, I appreciate you guys all joining me here. And let me go over to the side. Denisa, really appreciate you being here. Tammy, Abbas, Bob, Charles, Kevin, Nicole, thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me check on the Facebook side. Zia, thank you for being here. All right, so we are going to go in now into getting started as a beginner, right? So where do I see the most opportunity right now for those of you guys out there who are just about to launch a product, or maybe you're considering whether to even start? I want to just start out by saying, don't beat yourself up or be so hard on yourself if you're not at a point in your Amazon business where you would like to be. It's all right if you haven't got your product launched. It's all right if you take an extra month or two or even more getting started with Amazon, right? You're starting a business. Of course, you don't want to rush things. But for me, guys, it took me about 6 months to find and launch my first product. The major hang up for me was saving the money to invest into my first product, right? Starting an Amazon business, you're going to need at least $3,000 to $6,000 or more. And that took me over 6 months to save up because I was living paycheck to paycheck. That was an issue. So the money or financial part definitely held me up, getting my Amazon business off the ground. And then the other thing was just time, right? We work, we have lives. You maybe have kids or family you take care of. And so you may be limited on time. I was working over 50 hours a week. But overall, guys, to make the story short, don't beat yourself up if you're not to where you want to be yet. Everyone takes a different amount of time. My one-on-one coaching students, myself, like I said, took over 6 months to get started. My coaching students, some of them launched their first product in as little as 45 to 60 days. Others take 4 to 6 months. It's okay. Everyone takes a different amount of time. You know, you have life, you have work, you have family, you have a job, and then the money part may be holding you up. If it's the actual kind of like you don't know if it'll be successful or not, or if it's even still good to get into or not, that fear you're going to have to just get over. And the basic way to do that is by just trusting the numbers and the data. With Helium 10 and other product research and data and analysis tools, there's really no reason why you can't look at the market and the product and the numbers and validate whether it's good or not. So that just takes a little bit of practice and learning, of course. But if I had to give you my number one tip for new sellers starting their Amazon business, launching their first product, it would be this. Don't try to be seller number 102 with the same product as everyone else. Instead, what you should do is find unique, high demand, low competition products on Etsy, validate through keywords or keyword research. There's enough demand or people searching for that product. And then look at the most similar types of products on Amazon that you can, running the X-ray numbers, getting the revenue and sales numbers. Etsy, high demand, keywords, enough people searching, X-ray numbers on the most similar products on Amazon, validate new products like that, then be number seller 1 through 50, or like the first seller to the 20th seller or under, and you will do extremely well. That's honestly, guys, what I'm seeing work across the board. The best right now for making money the soonest, having the highest chance possible for you to start hitting your income goals, whether you want your Amazon business to do 1,000 a month in profit for yourself. For me, I remember my kind of goal was just 2,000 a month. That's all I was making as a banquet manager and bartender. I just wanted like around 2,000 extra profit per month. I didn't hit that with my first product. I didn't hit that with my second product. But by the time I launched my third product, I was way over that, like way double than that. So it just takes time. And that's what I'm seeing work the best right now. Instead of just being seller number 102 or 120 with the same product as all the other sellers and relying on, you know, a really nice listing, excellent photos, which certainly help. Knowing PPC in and out certainly helps. But that's what's working the best right now. The fastest, make money the fastest, highest chance possible for success. Unique products, high demand on Etsy. Validate through keyword research that there's enough customers searching for that product. Look up the most similar types of products on Amazon and what revenues and sales are they making. And then finally, understand your target market. Who's buying that product? Is it moms? Is it females? Is it males? What age group? What groups do they belong to on social media? Know your customer inside and out, or your target customer. What are they looking for? What do they want? What solution or problem does your product solve? And then bring them a high quality product, and you will do well almost every single time. If I just go back to Etsy, how do you validate demand there? You can use Helium 10 Demand Analyzer. So you can actually run Helium 10 extension tool on Etsy and actually look at the demand analyzer. That's super helpful for just getting related search terms and seeing the demand. That's where I would start. And then I would also look on the top right of the Etsy listing. You're going to see total sales. You can actually see how many sales that seller has made since they launched. So sales, demand analyzer from Helium 10 on Etsy. And then finally, the review counts. Anything over like 100 reviews is good. The product, like multiple of those products have over 100 reviews. And then if they have 1,000 or more reviews or 500 or more, that's high sales volume on Etsy. You can just shop around on Etsy. I found products on the homepage. I found products on the deals page. I found products on looking in specific categories like home and garden or crafts, arts and crafts. That's where I would go there. Next, we have keyword research. How do you do that? Helium 10 tools, Cerebro and Magnet. I would probably start with Magnet tool versus Cerebro. Because you won't have, or hopefully there's not a ton of the sellers already on Amazon, you won't have ASINs to put into Cerebro. So instead use Magnet. And I would like to see or try to find the top like 3 to 10 other main keywords for the product. And they all need to be having like around 2,000, 3,000 or higher searches per month. That would be good. 3 keywords for the product in Magnet that have over 3,000 searches per month. That alone would validate demand for me, as well as on Etsy, they have over 500 reviews. And then finally, guys, validating products on Etsy and launching them on Amazon is just pull up any similar types of products that you can find on Amazon. It may not be the exact, maybe there is 1 or 2 other sellers, that's fine. Run X-ray and analyze what revenues and sales they're making. I typically like to look for around 200 to 300 sales or more per month, depending on the price of the product, and then around 5,000 monthly revenue or higher. All right, so for those of you just joining in, let me just say hello to you. Bryn, thank you for being here. Brian and Joe, really appreciate you joining. Sally, hello to you all the way in Australia. Really, really excited to have all of you guys here and joining me for this live. I've covered a little bit about preparing for Q4. I've covered product research as far as where I see the most opportunity and some tips for beginners, like where to find products or start validating products. But now, how do you learn the process? Well, obviously, YouTube is a great resource. I've got great videos on my channel that cover everything from product research. I've done a couple of videos where I go over using the Etsy method, although I do need to make an updated one with using Demand Analyzer, which I will do. And then I've got creating the listing and finding a manufacturer and negotiating with manufacturer's best way, optimizing your listing with the best keywords, right? Ranking, PPC. So much more videos to come. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. That's number 1. Number 2, Helium 10. If you guys have the Platinum plan, the Freedom Ticket. The Freedom Ticket was just updated with 3.0 or version 3. It's super, super helpful for new sellers to go through there and watch those step-by-step tutorials. It's like $1,000 course that you get free with just having Helium 10 Platinum Plan, right? So that's super helpful. You can either watch all of the videos in Freedom Ticket and then go back and start slowly watching the modules and then implementing what you learn, or just watch 1 or 2 modules and then implement what you learn. So Freedom Ticket, super helpful. For those of you guys out there who are not part of my mentorship or coaching program, that is a great tool and program where I provide one-on-one coaching, 6 to 8 Zoom calls with me for my 6 or 8 week program. One-on-one, we're on Zoom calls, step-by-step helping you through all of the parts of your Amazon business. Typically, we save those calls for the hardest parts, like product research, like listing optimization, like selling your product, launching your product, running PPC ads, and expanding your business. So definitely check out the mentorship program. And then Facebook groups, super valuable to be a part of Facebook groups. I know many of you guys are part of the Amazon FBA Gladiators group. That's my group, but also the Helium 10 members group. So there's good Facebook groups out there where you can just go in, start kind of watching what questions are people asking most frequently. So those might be like areas or topics that people struggle with the most. So make sure you catches your attention and read some of the good answers if there's some good answers, not just generic ones. And you can learn that way. So Facebook groups, Freedom Ticket, Helium 10's trainings, my mentorship and coaching program, and YouTube are going to be your best ways to get started learning how to sell on Amazon and learning the ropes. You're always welcome to reach out to me as well, guys. Facebook Messenger, email, on YouTube. I'm pretty responsive on all 3 of those platforms, email, YouTube, or Facebook Messenger. So you're always welcome to reach out to me there. All right, before we jump into the questions, because I see some coming through, which I really appreciate you guys getting your questions in early. That's super helpful. For those of you guys out there who are just kind of watching in the background, that's fine too. That's no problem. You can have the live going. If you have to step away, that's no problem either, because this will be re-uploaded to the YouTube channel. Okay, you can watch back later if you have to step away or you missed part of it. Let me just see what questions we have coming through. But before I start with the questions, just a couple more things on Q4. I think I covered a lot of the good parts about Q4. Inventory, expect to sell higher inventory, have your inventory here in the United States versus having to rely on getting it from China or your freight forwarder's warehouse, wherever. November 25th roughly is Thanksgiving Day. November 26th is Black Friday. Promotions end on November 28th. November 29th is Cyber Monday, I believe. Coupons end on this day. September 7th was the deadline to submit your holiday lightning deals, 7-day deals, and best deals. October 24th to November 17th, try to get your inventory to Amazon's warehouse by these dates in order to be fully ready to take advantage of Q4, right? Because whether it's UPS or the shipping backlog, or it's backlog with Amazon's employees physically checking in the products, no later than November 17th, ideally get your inventory there. Inventory limits, for those of you guys out there maybe who can't create a shipping plan right now, maybe you're hung up on that. What do you do with you're not able to create a shipping plan right now? The best ways to get around that, guys, is removing dead stock. If you have a product that's, even if you only have 50 or 75 units of a product that's not selling much, you think, oh, it's only 50 units. It brings down the overall account inventory health, because the inventory limits, storage limits are based on an overall account level basis now. Just one slow moving ASIN with like 25 or 50 units sitting in Amazon can cause your inventory limits or storage limits to be taken down. So worse performance scores. So you can create a removal order. It's pretty inexpensive to do that, only around $1 or $2. I think the most it's going to be is like $2.50, $3 per unit to create a removal order and have those products sent to your home or to a 3PL for storage, especially as we go into Q4. We're already in Q4. Storage fees have already started to go up. They are typically charged at the end of the 30-day period. So we're halfway through October. So you may see a big increase in your storage fees at the end of this month. So create a removal order for any slow moving stock or dead stock. And then maybe you can sell those on Etsy or eBay or Facebook Marketplace to kind of liquidate that stock as well. And I recently did a YouTube video where I go over how to liquidate a product. So check that out too, if you are in that position. That's going to be one of the best ways to increase your IPI. If you are blocked from creating an inventory level, a new shipping plan because of your inventory level limits. The other thing is let any open shipping plans close or process, or close any ones that you don't need any longer. Be careful you don't close the wrong one, of course, but open shipping plans in the working process, created process, shipping process, receiving process, in transit process, all of those types of shipping plan statuses open will decrease your total amount of space you have at Amazon. Next is increase sales, of course. You can run promotions, lower your price, increase your bids on PPC, your best performing keywords or campaigns, up the budget to try to sell through some of that inventory and increase your volume, storage limits and volume. And then finally, just time. You may go in and try to do a shipping plan right now, and you're limited to, let's say, only 50 units or 100 units you can send right now. But if you wait a week or two, then that limit may be 300 or 350. So time, removing dead inventory, remove via removal order, and waiting for shipping plans to process and close are going to be the best ways to get your inventory level up. And then hopefully you have stock here in the US for going into November and December that you can replenish if you need to, because you should expect sales to be at least double. I have some products to do 5, 6x as many sales daily and monthly as in November and December as other times of the year. Typically around the mid part of November, like around the kind of like week before Thanksgiving, I typically see the increase in sales start like around there. And then they just continue going up as we go into December. All right. And for those of you who did miss the very beginning where I opened up, I just wanted to remind those of you guys out there who are starting, and if you already heard this, this will just be for people who've joined after I started. If you guys are starting and you taking a little longer to get started, you know, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up or be so hard on yourself. It took me over 6 months to get started and launch my FBA business. I have students that I've coached that take 6 months or longer. Some launched in 45 or 60 days. It just depends on your supplier, your product, your financial status. It took me 6 months because of how much money it cost to get started, to save up that amount of money because I was living paycheck to paycheck. And so don't beat yourself up. Keep perspective is so important. Don't compare yourself to other sellers. I know this is hard, whether you see sales numbers in the Facebook groups or on YouTube from some of the gurus, you know, exploiting how many sales they or their students are making. Try to have perspective and realize those sellers have probably been selling a long time, and don't compare your sales to theirs. It just takes time. Think of how far you've come. And if you're not going to make it in time for this Q4, that's fine too. Launching in January, February, April even of next year, sales are still good then too, as long as you have a good product and follow some of those tips I shared earlier on finding high demand, low competition products on Etsy keywords, and then being one of the first to market on Amazon with that product. All right, let me say hi to some of you guys on here. So Craig, thank you for joining. Stephanie, really appreciate you joining me. Zia, thank you. I see you in here. And on site, Jerry, Keith, Marty, Tammy, thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me go over here, and we've got Bryn, thank you. Sally, Antonio, thank you so much from Greece. Can't miss it. I appreciate that. Let's answer some questions. All right, so feel free to ask your questions. Hopefully the chat doesn't get too fast, so I missed some. So I apologize if I miss any of your questions. Let's start with Bob. Pallets take that long or boxes? Both. FCL or LTL, less than truckload, and boxes or cartons, small parcel delivery. Last year, anyways, it was mostly SPD, small parcel delivery, and Amazon partnered carrier for last Q4. That was the slow in getting checked in. Less than truckload, you may face some of those delays as well, but it was more like FBM orders and small parcel delivery with Amazon partnered carrier that were the hangups last year. Brezzy, thank you for being here. Let me go over here and answer some questions on Facebook. Please share your thoughts on rising freight charges from China to the UK. Kimmel, Chris, thank you so much for being here. Yusuf, Adam, thank you guys for joining. So freight costs, increasing freight costs. That's been one of the, like, wow. breaking news stories of the whole entire last half of the year, right? Increasing shipping times and freight costs and material costs and energy or blackouts in China with electricity. The good news is, guys, over the last week or two, shipping costs by sea anyways have come down at least about 10% as far as sea shipping DDP with my freight forwarders anyways. Sea shipping has kind of come down a little bit, so that's a little bit of a relief. Air shipping is still kind of expensive. It's still between $10 and $12 a kilo. For sea shipping DDP from China to the UK or China to the US, sea shipping DDP right now, it depends, of course, on what method and your product and the HS code and your customs duties or taxes due. But normal sea shipping DDP is taking about 40 to 60 days. That's going to be costing around 2 to 2.5 per kilo for normal sea, 40 to 60 days. Fast sea shipping, that's going to be like 25 to 35 days. Fast sea shipping is around $2.8 to $3.1 per kilo for that. My two freight forwarders are Wendy and Michelle. If you need their contact information, I would be happy to send you those two. The shipping prices are always changing, but the good news is not air, but sea has recently come down. Can you go into a little more detail about using Etsy to find new product opportunities? Yes, thank you, Stephanie, for that question. I won't share my screen just because it'll kind of lock out things of being able to see you guys and your chat and your questions. But when you're on Etsy's platform, right, you go to Etsy.com, you see the home page, you can see products you've recently viewed. But if you keep scrolling down, that's where I found a lot of good products, just down lower, kind of on, not trending, but kind of just kind of popular, recent sales or high volume products that have sold really well. You can click on certain categories or products that interest you, whether your brand you want to build or is already started in home and kitchen and dining, or whether it's in more arts and crafts. Etsy isn't the best place for fitness products or supplements or some electronics, right? Of course, there are some that sell well, but Etsy, if I had to boil it down to the top 3 categories, definitely home and kitchen and dining, storage and organization, tools and home improvement, home decor, kitchen accessories, bakeware, arts and crafts. These are the types of products that sell super well on Etsy. So if your brand, or you want to launch and build a sports and outdoors brand, then going the traditional route of the storefront method, using X-ray, black box, and doing research on Amazon still works. I would go about it that way. Same thing if you're selling toys and games. Yes, there are some of that on Etsy, but actually Amazon and black box and helium 10 tools would be better. Yeah, Stephanie, thanks so much. So I didn't know I could use helium 10 on Etsy. Yeah, the only one that works I found so far is that demand analyzer, but it's certainly helpful, right? Because if you have a product pulled up, you can run that helium 10 demand analyzer and kind of figure out how much search volume does this keyword have on Amazon and kind of the other related keywords kind of quickly. Craig, do you recommend setting up a website if you only have one product? And if so, what websites do you suggest? If you just have one product, I wouldn't recommend setting up a website unless you plan on getting brand registry pretty quickly. Registering your brand, getting a trademark on your brand is going to be a little bit cheaper right after you launch, but you want to brand all your products from the very beginning to make sure you have the most protection against hijackers, and having your brand name or logo on your products and packaging is actually critical or required for both trademark process, Amazon brand approval process, and Amazon brand registry. So logo on products and packaging is a must. As far as website, you don't have to set up your website right away, but once it comes time to get Amazon brand registry, I would recommend, and brand approval, I would recommend having at least a one-page simple website set up. You can go and save your brand name, domain name, on GoDaddy, Namecheap.com, or even Shopify now allows you to buy domains. That's where I would buy your brand domain URL. As far as actually building the website, Shopify is really the best. I believe you get a 7-day trial to start, and then you could do their basic plan. If you do plan on launching multiple products under your brand, I would try to get your first three products launched on Amazon first. Get those going, get brand registry, get your storefront page set up. Then set up your website. So GoDaddy, Namecheap to buy your domain URL for your brand, go save that. The .com if it's available. .co is kind of the backup option, or you could do shop your brand name.com if that's available, or brandnameshop.com. And then Shopify is going to be the best for actually hosting your store and eventually selling products to customers through Shopify. Is it a bad idea to raise prices? Is it a bad idea to raise prices incrementally during Q4? Do you expect to see that with the current state of supply demand with low inventory? You know, play it out. It really depends on your competition. What are their prices like on page one? I typically am a big fan and recommend a lower price for launch. That doesn't mean you have to keep a low price for 4 weeks. But let's say your main competition or competitors on page one in the top 20 positions are priced roughly, let's say, you know, $20 to $50. You don't want to be the cheapest at $20. You don't want to be the most expensive at $50, but you want to come into the market with a competitive price. So probably around that $35 mark, $35 to $39.99 is where I would start. I would check my PPC campaigns, my clicks and click-through rate to see if it's over 1% or is it over 2%. If it's under for all my campaigns, and I do have a couple reviews, it's probably the price, the main image, or the title that's holding people up. And so you may have to go down to like $33.95 with a 10% off coupon. So I do recommend launching with a lower price, even during Q4, and a competitive price in the beginning, and then slowly raising your price as you start getting sales, traction, ranking, and reviews. Brian, can I sell my current product in Canada with it being in the US warehouse, or do I have to ship it to a Canadian FBA warehouse? A good question, Adam. You can do both. You can do either one. With the first option, sell your product in Canada with the inventory you have in the US. That's the Amazon Remote Fulfillment Program. You can enroll in that and then get your products all set up, listings created for the Canadian marketplace, and then Amazon will ship your product to orders via the inventory you have in the US. It does get you started right away. It's pretty simple to set up and enroll in the remote fulfillment program. There are some downsides though, like longer shipping times versus your competitors and what to do with returns. That can get a little complex. So look at that as an option. In the short term, I would do the remote fulfillment just to get your feet wet and into the Canadian market. But then eventually I would go ahead and, create a shipping plan, send an inventory to the Canadian FBA warehouse. All right, you guys having really good questions here. Let's jump over here. Any advice on selling luxury olive oil? The top ones are Papa Vince and Governor. Helium 10 says our main keyword. Extra virgin olive oil is searched more than 10,000 times, but with thousands of product results. Food and grocery is going to be restricted to sell food and grocery items on Amazon. It's one of the more tough categories, honestly, to get approval for. Your product has to be safety tested, usually manufactured and produced in an FDA-approved facility. So it can get kind of complex to sell food and grocery items. So I would start with, before you invest any money into the product, getting approved in food and grocery. You can do that through your Amazon seller account, see what Amazon requires from you, such as invoices, brand authorization letter, pictures of your product and packaging with logo, full name and address of the manufacturer on the packaging, those kind of requirements. I would see what Amazon wants from you. I would get approved in food and grocery first, and then consider which products to sell in that category. I can't look at the numbers on extra virgin olive oil. I would say it's going to be pretty competitive. I would, if you get approved in food and grocery, it's a good category, low competition, but it's relatively low competition as far as new sellers entering, but there are bigger established brands in there, so you'll have to be careful. Olive oil, I have a feeling, is going to be too competitive, but there may be other really good products in food and grocery that you can sell. Thank you, Jasco. Really appreciate your comment. Brendan, do you set up your listing differently for Q4? Maybe adding keywords or different pictures? Great question, Brendan. Yes, you will want to update your listing going into Q4. This is a great question. What changes should you make or do for Q4? A couple of things. Images, I typically will add 1 or 2 kind of giftable, holiday themed pictures, new images. Maybe there's a Christmas tree in the background, or maybe it's a lifestyle photo with two models, one person giving your product as a gift. These can be really helpful for getting more sales and conversions, updating at least one or two of your lifestyle images. The second thing is keyword search volume, BSRs on bestsellers changes during Q4. It's different. The BSRs are different during Q4. The search volumes are wildly different versus the other times a year. So you definitely want to do updated keyword research and just update your listing that way. Just now that we're about halfway through October, I would probably wait for at least 30 days. So like around November 1st, like first part of November, do new keyword research on your main keywords using Cerebro and Magnet. And that way you'll have like 30 days of data pulled from inside Q4 October. So that's the way I would go about that. And then where do you put those keywords? You may find like Christmas gifts for men, has really good search volume. It's not too competitive. Your product fits that, criteria. It's very relevant. It's a good gift for men. Look at adding that to your bullet points. Your description and your possibly your back-end search terms, you could update it there. Minimum your bullet points, maybe title, but be careful not to change your title too much. Bullet points, title, back-end keywords is good, and then of course running it in PPC. Can you explain having an LLC name? What is a storefront name and what is brand name? I'm confused on this. I plan to sell a random product to start with, but do not plan on building a brand around it. Is this a waste of time? Okay, so you can go ahead and start selling from one seller account and sell that random product. There's three things there. There's the storefront name, there's company name, and there's brand name. Storefront name, guys, is just the display name that customers will see under the add to cart button. It says sold by this company. That's your storefront name or company name. I would recommend having your storefront name or company name different from your brand name. The storefront name or the storefront display name, I would set as your company name. Your LLC name should be your storefront name typically. And then the brand name is the one that's going to be under the title, on your products, on your packaging, eventually for all your private label products. That's the important one. Brand name is the important one. So storefront name and company name are going to be the same. That's just the display name of your company or you, the seller, under the add to cart button, and then up top, and then on all your products, and then what you eventually get a trademark on is the brand name. That's the important one. The product I'm aiming for is in a category where PPC is restricted. Do you have any tips on launching methods without PPC? Great question. PPC is going to be required for almost all new products launching and getting your PPC campaign set up and dialed in and optimized to be able to rank the product. If you're not able to use Amazon PPC for launching products, some products are restricted, like gun accessories can be restricted. All tobacco related products or accessories is restricted. CBD can be restricted. COVID related products can be restricted from running PPC. So the best ways to launch in that case are going to be focusing on ranking, reviews, and influencers. Try to find an influencer to help you promote your product and do a promotion with you, collaborate. They make several posts every single week or month and help you launch your product that way. You can look on Instagram, YouTube, shoutcart.com for influencers to help you promote your product or launch your product. You can send customers from the influencer to a landing page, such as a ManyChat page that you build, a ManyChat flow, or a Helium 10 Portals landing page. I would send customers from the Instagram page of that influencer, their audience members, to a landing page, simple landing page. Give the customers some search, find, buy instructions would also be fine. And then have them opt into your email list. So now you have their name and email, and then they'll go onto Amazon and buy your product via an organic sale, full search, find, buy instructions. And then you can email that customer and arrange for their maybe 20% off or 50% refund. That's going to be the best way to launch products you can't run PPC on. If the product doesn't have anywhere to put your brand name on it and it's packaged in a poly bag, how do we get around the brand approval error code 5665? If you're not able to put your brand name or logo on the actual product, like for the bulk order of 500 units, let's say it's just not possible, I would try to order one custom sample from your supplier with logo on it, on the actual product. It's okay if you can only get one product, a custom sample made with your logo on the actual product, and then you will need it on the actual packaging. So if you're using a poly bag for packaging, ideally the poly bag would have printed ink of your brand name or logo on it. A sticker may or may not work, but you will need to order one custom sample from your supplier, and they actually print, engrave, silk screen, heat transfer, permanently affix your brand name on the actual product, and you'll submit pictures of that to Amazon and your trademark attorney. You're welcome, Bobo. Denisa, do you recommend search, find, buy, or any kind of rebate, or would PPC just be the best way to launch? Okay, so there's been some news over this past week. You may have seen Amazon restricted or banned Rebate Key, which was a search, find, buy platform, rebate platform where we could launch products. We could set up search, find, buy to help us rank better. We could relaunch a product by doing a Rebate Key campaign. No more Rebate Key. I don't recommend using Rebate Key. I would actually go as far as saying you should just disconnect it from your API or connected account in your seller account. So if you have used Rebate Key in the past, if you want to be extra careful, nothing will happen if you don't do this. You just don't want to use it anymore. And if you do have it connected to your seller account, go to the top right to settings, user permissions or integrations, and disconnect them or get rid of them. So there's no trace of them. Amazon banned them. I think one of the main reasons Rebate Key got banned was because if you go to rebatekey.com, all of their promotions, search, find, buy information, rebates was all public. And so I think it was very easy for Amazon to just go over to Rebate Key and see all the deals and all the brands and products over there, and then match it up with the products that are live on their website and seeing kind of how they're correlated with increased sales, increased rankings, short-term burst of sales. I think that's what caused Rebate Key's downfall, but I don't recommend Rebate Key anymore. So what do you do instead? PPC, optimized listing, influencers, social media for your brand. These are going to be critical going forward for launching new products. PPC, listing optimization with the right longer tail keywords in the beginning, optimized beautiful listing with photos, the right pricing strategy, coupons, deals, promotions with influencers. That's a really good start. If you're not able to rank using those standard methods, the next thing you may have to do is search, find, buy purchases. Going forward, what do you do to get search, find, buy? You can arrange it through friends and family. Anyone can buy your product through a search, find, buy. You could tell 100 of your friends, go onto Amazon, type in microphone, go to page 10, find my product and buy it. Family members and close friends just can't review that product. Anyone can do a search, find, buy though. To set up search, find, buy though, if you don't have 100 friends that will go do that, the best two alternatives going forward for search, find, buys are going to be ManyChat. So you'll run a ManyChat conversation flow. The software or tool that I recommend for that, getting you help with that, is Boost Rooster. They've got a blacklist of customers that they don't let do this, because there's like bots and like hackers that try to get in there and ruin your listing with search, find, buy. So Boost Rooster is a service that I'd recommend for ManyChat flow, getting more reviews with the right insert cards and Facebook ads. That's one. ManyChat, Boost Rooster software, not too expensive either. The other way you can do search, find, buy is by a landing page. So you can send people from an influencer, from your social media pages, to an email list that you have built for your brand you've collected by giving away an ebook or a warranty card maybe. You have an email list, a following on Facebook or Instagram for your brand, maybe a group, or an influencer helps you promote your product. To do a search, find, buy, send the customer to a simple landing page, ManyChat or Portals, Helium 10 Portals landing page. Tell the customer to type in this keyword, go onto Amazon, search your product, buy it. In Amazon's eyes, that's a full price organic sale with no trackable link. So there's no issue there. It's just a customer that went onto Amazon, typed in a keyword and bought your product. No trackable link, no rebate that Amazon knows about. It's just organic sale from the influencer's audience or your audience. Then on that landing page, though, you'll need to collect the customer's name and email and then follow up with them by email for issuing them a refund or whatever arrangement you want to make. Maybe it's a commission you also give part of your commission to or sales to the influencer who helped you. That's helpful too. Look at the Amazon Associates program too. If you are going to use influencers, Amazon Associates is a great program. Okay, we're getting through some really good questions here. Robbie, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. Does your mentorship cover external traffic such as Google Ads, Reddit advertising? Currently, I'm working on updating my mentorship program. We certainly can cover it on our live sessions or Zoom calls. As far as the videos and resources, there's information on ManyChat and Facebook ads, not currently Google Ads or Reddit. Amazon does love outside traffic. So the best ways to promote your product going forward are going to be Facebook, Instagram, Reddit is okay, Instagram shopping, Google ads. These are going to be vital for going forward and advertising your product, in addition to Amazon PPC, Amazon sponsored product ads, Amazon sponsored brand ads, and Amazon headline ads. That's all going to be required eventually. You don't have to learn that all up front before you start, but all three of those you're going to want to take full advantage you get with brand registry. I watched a couple of YouTube videos. He's covering a lot with some of the free trainings. Yeah, that's great. Definitely look at Google ads, Reddit ads, and Pinterest ads can work very, very well. And I will be updating the videos that I have inside of the mentorship or the coaching, covering Google ads, covering Pinterest ads, and updated about Instagram ads. I think those are going to be the best ways to go forward, as well as using influencers. I've already got some videos in there of where to find those and how to use them, but definitely think that Pinterest and Google ads are vital. All right, so the product I'm aiming for is I'm receiving samples from the supplier right now at a very high level without going into detail for each step. Once the supplier is selected, what are the next steps? Ordering, creating the listing, etc. So that's a good question. So once you receive a couple custom samples from your supplier and you've picked which supplier you're going to work with, you're going to want to get final purchase order contract or details from your supplier where everything is broken down. I have a final supplier order contract template that I use, and I'll edit this. I'll add all the order details with pictures. Maybe I do like an Excel sheet with all the details of the product and add images. You want to make a really detailed kind of final purchase order outline with everything like insert card size, the insert card colors, the size of the product, the size of the logo on the product, the method the logo is going to be applied to the product, the dimensions, the quantity, the price, the shipping and payment terms, the inspection, all of that you'll want to get next, and then place the 30% or 50% deposit to your supplier to start production. Then the next step for you is setting up product photography with those final custom samples you have, or ask your supplier to send one to a photographer. You want to get photos going. You want to buy a GTIN barcode or UPC barcode and create your listing. You'll want to start working on your listing copy, title, bullets, description, A+ content if you have brand registry, and then uploading those photos, and of course, optimizing the entire listing with the best keywords. Next will be shipping plan. About 1 week or towards the end of production is when I would make your listing. Try not to make your listing, guys, around 30 days or less before the product will arrive to Amazon. Basically, if you have created your listings for the honeymoon period and the launch effect of the honeymoon period, 30 days or less before launch, create the listing. Ideally, it's okay if it's like a month and a half, 2 months, you'll still get a honeymoon period, but it's just best if you create the listing as close to your launch as possible. Wait until as close as possible. So you could do that by sending your products from your supplier to your freight forwarder. Your freight forwarder then sends it from China to their freight forwarding warehouse in California. No shipping plan or barcodes in that process were required. Get the products to your freight forwarder's warehouse in California, then create the listing, send the freight forwarder the FNSKU Amazon barcode for each unit, and do your shipping plan. And then you'll be about a week away from launch. The problem with creating your listing too far in advance, guys, number one, Amazon does start collecting a little bit of data on your product as soon as the listing is created. But the other thing is, if you guys are familiar with the Amazon catalog, you can essentially go into the Amazon catalog, add products, and type in any product and see any product that has been created in the catalog. So basically, if I'm coming up with a really unique and clever product that I found on Etsy, but it's not on Amazon yet, and I create the listing 3 months in advance, other sellers can possibly see that and get that design. And so try to hold off on creating your listing until towards the very end, ideally, okay? Next, we'll be setting up the inspection and the freight forwarding, and then making the final deposit to your supplier, and then getting prepared for launch. Annie, thank you for being here. RGS, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you guys joining me. We've got a couple more questions that have come in that are really good. Robbie, thank you that you're here. What do you recommend as far as decent photographers that can use models? Pixel Nut Studios, I've always had good luck with Pixel Nut Studios. They seem to be a pretty good company. They've done a lot of photos for me. I've recently been using some other people on Fiverr. I've got a list of recommended photographers I would be happy to send you. You can just direct message me on Facebook, and I will be happy to send you that list of recommended photographers. I recently, or currently, am actually setting up a photo shoot with Suna. We'll see how the photos go there. I've seen examples of their work in the past, and it's always been good. I've seen some people aren't happy with their photos. I understand that. Pixel Nut Studios, Suna, and I've got 2 or 3 people on Fiverr, professional product photos. One I've labeled best photographer overall on Fiverr that I've used multiple times, and best photographer on a budget. So if you do need those, just let me know. I'll be happy to send you those. Okay, Annie has a good question. My manufacturer told me that the waybill number will be in the products, will be available when the products arrive to the port. Yeah, the bill of landing number, sometimes you're not able to get until later on. So let's say your product shipped today, your freight forwarder went to the supplier, picked them up, and are shipping them. You may not be able to get that bill of landing number or until they get to the port, and your tracking number may not update, or actually it won't update, but you may not be able to get it for a week or so because the supplier takes it to their, or the freight forwarder takes the products from your supplier to the freight forwarding warehouse. They prepare things there, double check the freight, arrange for the boat or the plane, get them to the port. Then you'll get the BOL number and shipping number. And then if you are using boat sea shipping, your tracking number won't update for the entire time it's out on sea. Can I still sell it even if my cargo will be received in the warehouse early week of December? If your inventory is going to arrive in the first part of December, I would allow for around 2 weeks or so for it to be checked in, up to 4 weeks though. Yes, even if your inventory arrives December 1st, Amazon will still process your inventory and check it in. You should, if you could get the inventory there sooner, of course, by around November 15th to 19th, no later than that. But yes, even if it arrives the first part of December, Amazon will still check in your inventory, and you should have units made available where you can actually go ahead and launch within about 7 to 10 days. Typically, you'll have the first kind of 10 to 30 units checked in, depending on where you are. If this is a brand new product launch or a restock, you could go ahead and launch at that point, and then it shouldn't be too much longer after that, 1 to 2 weeks, getting the rest of the inventory checked in. All right, a couple more questions here, guys. Well, you guys have asked really good questions today. Really appreciate this. Okay, so variations. Variations. Is it better to add a variation onto an existing product, or should I create a totally separate listing? If your product is eligible for variations, I would add it as a variation. Sometimes products or categories, you're not able to add variations for whatever reason. It also depends on the variation theme, or basically the type of variation. Is it color, design, pack, material? You'll have to figure out if there's a variation theme that matches the variation that you're adding. If there is, and your product and category is eligible for variations, yes, I'm a bigger fan of adding products as a variation onto existing listings. If it's just a change of color, design, material, pack, because you get to piggyback off the success of the first product's ranking, and the reviews will eventually share in between both ASINs. If you launch it as a separate listing, sometimes for some electronics, you have to do that. You'll have to start over with a new launch, new ranking, but you can use some of the PPC data that you have to launch the new one. So it's kind of helpful, but you do have to start over all over for reviews and that kind of thing. Marty, what type of PPC should I do for my 2 product variations? Do I have to do them in separate campaigns or together? Good questions. If you have 2 or 3 colors or variations that you're launching of the same product, just different colors, put all of the ASINs into the same campaign and start your auto campaigns, manual campaigns for the first few weeks of launch with all those variations in the same campaigns. This is to get kind of all of them off the ground, start getting as much data, start getting as much ranking as you can, start making sales and getting reviews. But then eventually you'll have a breakout of one of the colors or variations that does well. At that point, I would move your best-selling ASIN into their own campaign so you can better control the spin, the targeting groups or ad groups, your budgets and bids that way. And then you could leave, let's say you have 3 variations, one sells the best. After the first few weeks, you could move that to its own campaign and then leave the other 2 together in their own campaign. How can I get Amazon to use my current brown box packaging as the main packaging instead of them putting it inside another prime box? Unfortunately, there's no setting that I'm aware of where you can decide what type of envelope packaging box Amazon puts your product into. I would just recommend, obviously before you ship your products into Amazon, they need to be individually packaged in either a poly bag or a box and then labeled correctly with the barcode. As far as what Amazon does after that, sending the product to the customer, sometimes they will use another box. Sometimes, depending on your packaging, they'll just ship it like that. There's no setting that I'm aware of where you can decide how Amazon does that. So if, for example, you're doing a really nice gift box packaging and you're noticing from customer complaints that the products are getting damaged and the beautiful box you designed and sent into Amazon, Amazon's not putting it in another box. And so you're getting complaints. On your next order, I would probably put that custom gift box into another box or like a poly bag around that to protect it. Not Q4 related, but a question on listing. Like if you created your listing, you put a future start date, future launch date for the new year, closed the listing after obtaining my ASIN from the manufacturer, saw my listing was inactive, but then I went back to look at it and it said suppress, and the launch date was the date I set up my listing. If you're inside Manage Inventory page, in the center, you will see the date that you created the listing. If you click on Edit on the right-hand side and you go under the Offer tab and the More Details tab, there is where you can find future launch date, release date, offer start date, sales start date, release date, restock date, launch date. Like they'll all be under either Offer or More Details tab, whatever product and category options you have. I would set it there. Suppressed listing is just due to a couple of reasons. Either the main image is not uploaded, you're missing a description or bullet points, or a title is not meeting the criteria, or there's a bigger issue like your account is suspended or needs to be reactivated, or the listing requires approval to be able to sell that product. And so it just depends on when you click on Edit on the right-hand side, is there a little red circle at the top where you've missed some information? That's an easy fix. If it says suppressed and then you have stranded inventory or fixed stranded inventory or a stranded listing, and then you see your account requires new reactivation or the listing requires approval, that's a bigger issue. And then the last part of your question or comment was, I don't have photos uploaded. So that's probably the reason your listing is suppressed. All right, guys. Well, we're coming up on an hour here of really, really good questions and interactions. You guys have really done well. If you have any last minute questions, you can send those through now. Paul, thanks so much for your comment. Appreciate that. What part of the live today was your favorite? Did you enjoy learning most about like finding new products and tips on how to learn? Was it kind of the Q4 overview, or was it the question and answers? You can comment that and let me know what part you enjoyed the most. Was it learning about Q4, learning about new products and getting started, or was it the question and answers part of the live? Always like seeing that. Is there a way to find a sweet spot for Q4 PPC daily budget? It definitely fluctuates greatly. I've tried adjusting my PPC budgets, like per hour. Is there certain times a day that it works better? You know, I found the morning, actually PPC does typically work better in the mornings, but because Amazon not responds, but records on a 24-hour basis, the PPC information and data, currently there's no way to like base your budgets off like a per hour or certain times a day, like morning, afternoon, or evening. There are some softwares out there that do this for you. But as far as budgets during Q4, typically you are going to have to go higher on your budget. So typically other times of the year, I'd recommend, you know, a minimum $10 to $100 daily budget. And then as you have your best performing campaigns break out, those you can start slowly adding $5 or $10 daily budget as you go, and then just optimizing your bids every few days. For campaigns that aren't working the best or kind of just breaking even, you definitely want to go lower your bids in there, possibly shut off the campaign, extract what data you can, and adjust your budgets down. So it just depends on the campaign and how it's performing. Does the product packaging have to say made in China on it if made in China? Yeah, Amazon doesn't require the made in China. It's customs and border that require the made in China. You can add the made in China to two places. Typically, I'll add it to the white space on the top of my FNSKU barcode sticker or barcode label. I'll add it on the FNSKU. You can Photoshop it to the top, you know, designed in the Pacific Northwest, manufactured in China. That's fine. Or just made in China. Or you can have it printed on your packaging. And then also it'll be on your cartons as well. Thank you so much. The Q&A you enjoyed, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I enjoy these QA sessions too. Robbie, we will rewatch this later for following up on tips for Q4. Appreciate that. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Robbie. Adam has a question about exact match campaigns. You know, I've tested a lot of products and helped launch a lot of products, and typically exact match campaigns aren't going to work the best. It used to be where I'd launch exact match campaigns for new product launches and set like a really high bid. So like 3, 4, 5, even 6 times the suggested bid. I'd put 1 to 3 keywords in an exact match campaign. I'd have a couple campaigns like that for just exact keywords, 1 to 3 of them, really high bid, really high budget of $100 or more per day. And it used to work, ranking the product, and 100% bid increase or placement adjustment, and it would work. Because there's so many people and sellers running exact match, you have to watch really closely. Number one, because it has the highest bids, because the whole idea of running PPC in the beginning is we're running auto campaigns, we're running manual broad campaigns, we're running phrase campaigns, we're running exact campaigns. We're running all these campaigns in the beginning and testing all these like 25 to 100 different keywords. And the whole goal though is you should be able to start narrowing it down to like your top like 5 to 15 best, most profitable keywords. So you will have to test your keywords as exact match, but I typically find that broad and phrase works better in the beginning. Thank you, Chris, so much. I appreciate that comment, and we will be in touch soon. I'm looking forward to chatting with you about the next steps, and we will get you all going. Okay, thank you, Jason. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am going to wrap up the live session here. Hopefully, I will be able to do these about once per month. I appreciate you guys for joining. For those of you in the Zoom call, just hang on for a minute because I'll have to manually disconnect you on there. But thank you guys so much.